Welcome to the Service to Syndication Podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, capital raisers in the world who have worn the uniform of this great country, those who provide services to our men and women in uniform, and other service-oriented professionals to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer your dreams and goals in real estate and to use this wealth creation vehicle so you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of generosity and prosperity. If what you desire is time, lifestyle, and financial freedom, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, the knowledge, experience, skills, so you can go out and crush it in whatever real estate asset class you desire. So grab a pencil and paper, sit back, and enjoy the ride on the Service to Syndication Podcast. Hello, my servicemen and women and other service providers. Welcome to another episode of the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast. I am your host, Cedrick Marlowe, and I am a U.S. Navy vet. Here on the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast, we interview the most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, capital raisers in the world, where most have donned the uniforms of this great country. We aim to provide the tool sets, mindsets, skill sets for you to achieve your personal and business goals while using real estate as a wealth creation vehicle to help you live a more successful, happy, and fun-filled life. I am super excited today because I have with me Mr. Howard Bud Evans, who's a top-notch real estate investor and realtor. But before I properly introduce our guest, I want to ask a favor of you. Please, if you get some value out of the interview, if you get some type of insight, mindset shift, if you learn a new skill, new information, receive inspiration or motivation to go out and take some action and make some progress in your life, please share this episode with some of your friends. And send it to someone who you know who might be or could be interested in real estate. Share it on your social media, post it on your wall, or share it in your stories. Help us spread our message while you help others. And for all of you who shared this episode, I want to say thank you. As mentioned, we have Mr. Howard Bud Evans. Bud is a retired police officer of 13 years and retired U.S. Air Force military officer of 34 years. Bud is the former mayor of Syndication, New Jersey. Bud is a real estate investor, licensed agent who currently operates in New Jersey and Pittsburgh, PA, with single-family homes. Bud was a real estate investment coach for Tariq El Moussa, but still teaches the BRRRR method, commercial multifamily analysis, property management, and velocity and infinite banking. Currently, Bud has underwritten over $100 million in deals and has created a personal real estate portfolio of over $10 million. Bud is the president of Aim High Properties, LLC. Aim High operates 8 subordinate companies, ranging from property management to hair salons. All right, Bud, welcome. So the first thing that I like to do with my guests is that I ask them to walk us through the real estate investing journey in 75 seconds or less.
Yeah. Okay. So as the mayor of Syndication, I was involved in budgeting, planning, zoning, and economic development. I found a penchant for economic development. I enjoyed the building process. So when I left township committee in 2018, I said, why not me? Why not now? And I jumped into real estate. I joined a mentorship program. And by January of 2019, started hitting the ground running. I had my first flip. At the end of the first month, I had 2 more rentals behind it. At the end of 2 years, we had done 30 flips, 21 rental properties under our banner, and we did 10 wholesales. I don't like to give things up. I've only done 11 in 5 years now. I just did my 11th one recently. That being said, we're now up to over 50 doors. I've done over 100 flips. And again, we just did our 11th wholesale, which again, I'm not crazy about. The biggest success in my life, though, has been being married over 30 years and raising a son who is, well, we've been married for 34 years. My son is about to turn 32. I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth. And he currently serves his community as an ICU nurse at a teaching hospital in the area. He's the director of that ICU. But yeah, that's how I got started in a nutshell in 75 seconds or less. And I just got involved in a bunch of commercial properties as well. We have one, I'm a GP on a capital raising, and then I have 6 personally owned smaller commercial multifamily properties.
All right, good stuff. So, coach, real estate investor, realtor, former mayor, and let's not forget the most important job, husband and father. Where do you find the time?
I don't sleep. No, honestly, like I say it a lot that if I can do this, anybody can do this. Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, you, me, we all have one thing in common. We have the same 24 hours in a day. All right. It's just a matter of how you allocate your time and what you do with it. Hit the ground running in the morning, wake up at 5, hit the gym, do that for a couple hours, come back, take a shower. It's on. Eat my breakfast. And then from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock, it's all about the companies. I touch each company every day. From about 3 o'clock until about 7 o'clock, I'm doing some form of coaching, mentorship, or, looking up some new deals and maybe doing some analysis. And then from about 8, 9 o'clock or whatever time camps are done until about 10 o'clock at night, it's strictly family time. And then we have, of course, time block on Friday night after about 6 or about 7. Then on Saturday is completely blocked off. Sunday and Monday are completely blocked off. And that's all for Stephanie and Frank.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I like that time blocking. I know, at least for myself, I normally block off or knock off, if you will, about 3 p.m. on Fridays and all the way until about Monday morning, and where I get up, started all over again, hit that, like you said, gym first thing in the morning, and I'm off and running after that. So, Bud, I'm a little curious. As I mentioned in your bio, you talked about 8 subordinate companies.
Yeah.
Let's delve into that a little bit.
Yeah. So we have several portfolios that I work on. I'm partners in 3 of them, 4 of them. And then I own my own personal portfolio. I have my consulting company, which is not only coaching, it's also my mentorship program, my licensed agent portion of that. We have a property management company, which we just squared away over here in South Jersey. We're hitting the ground running on that. I just partnered with a local broker, and we're going to use that as a provided service to his. He's an investor friendly broker. Prime Realty Partners in South Jersey, if you're in the area. We also operate in Philly, or he operates in Philly. I don't yet. And then we have a hair salon. So I mean, we run the game. That's my wife's baby. I don't get too deep into that, obviously, but yeah. So she's a owner operator, but not really, because the LLC owns it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I was gonna ask, how did you fall into that? But yeah, the wife, I get it. No questions.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about your military. What prompted you to join the military?
So in 87, my parents got divorced and basically told me, hey, or it was actually 86. Hey, we don't know what we're going to do. We're getting divorced. We don't have any money for college. And I went, okay. So that was the end of that. I've got to figure out a way to go to school. I did not want to be, both my parents, I give them credit. My dad was an operating engineer. He ran heavy equipment. My mother was a deli clerk over at a ShopRite in Philly. And because that's where I grew up. And when they broke up, it was, kind of expected, but not really. And then, man, it was on my 18th birthday. I was like, yep, see ya, I'm out. Joined at MEPS and did the delayed enlistment program. And by August, I was gone.
Wow. Yeah, my story is somewhat similar. The MEPS part anyway. Uh, but the delayed entry, I did join the delayed entry program while I was still in high school and everything. So yeah, I understand that. So let me ask you this, and you kind of explained it a little bit just now, but was the military, was it a means to an end, or was there a purpose behind it?
I wish there was. So I've had two major influences in my life. So my grandmother's, we'll call them partner. You can't call them boyfriends when they're in their late stages. He was an E8 in the Marine Corps, and he was in the reserves as when I knew him. And then my uncle, who made chief, E8 or E9 rather in the Air Force, not E7. I know Navy, we get a little confused with the vernacular, right? So he made E9 in a very short period of time, and I kind of gravitated a little bit more towards him. Looked at him as a major influence in my life, and that's the reason. One of the reasons, because my choices were, I was either going to be a Marine or I was going to be in the Air Force, and so I wound up gravitating to the Air Force. I will tell you this: I would not have gotten where I am today if it hadn't been for the discipline that was instilled in the military. I was a mess. I found school boring. Nobody knew what ADHD was back then, so I just got beat a lot. I mean, it was corporal punishment back then. Why aren't you doing your homework? Slap, slap, slap. I don't need to do the homework. I can pass all the tests. You know, um, so it was bad. My high school career, I hated high school. I was frustrated because to me it was boring. I could go in and take the test blindfolded and still get a 90 or better. But I wasn't doing homeworks, so I would fail. It was bad. The military was like, look, this is just the way it is. You do this, this, and this, and then you'll succeed. And I was like, oh, processes, procedures, checklist, and then standard operating procedures using them. Okay, great, no problem. I got this. And it was next thing I knew, I had two associate's degrees, a major in finance, a minor in accounting, and a master's in business administration, all because the military got me squared away. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Um, I know back in the military, I called it AJ squared away.
Yeah.
So yeah, they will. Um, so you also retired as a police officer. Let's talk about that a little bit. How'd that happen? How'd that come about?
Yeah, so it's a funny story. Weird things happen to me, Cedric. It's just kind of the way it is, right? Back in '90, I got out. They had this Graham and Rudman budget cuts. I don't know if you remember Palace Chase back in the late '80s. I was given the opportunity to do one of two things: sign on for another 4 years, or get out and go into the Guard. And I went, well, I didn't like it. I was at Langley Air Force Base, first tactical fighter wing back then, right? And I picked up the phone and I called Randolph Air Force Base, which is who sends you to different places. And I was like, hey, if I put in a request, can I go to, like, I don't know, Korea or anywhere else? And they were like, nope, I'm going to the Guard. So I did, and I went into the Air National Guard. Tried an entrepreneurial venture back then. I opened a small restaurant. I went to culinary school to get smart on it. Then I went to, I started this restaurant. I failed miserably. But hey, the entrepreneurial spirit didn't die in me. And I was broke. So I took a test and became a cop. Uh, not, hey, listen, it was one of those things where, like, hey, this fits my personality. I know I can do this. I love helping people. So that's exactly how I jumped into that. I had a friend of mine gave me a call and he goes, we're hiring, right? You just got to sign up and take this test. So I did. And I wound up in the top 4 and they hired 4. So I was
Yeah.
3 or 4 is what happened. And next thing I knew, it was, 13 years later, I had finished 2 associates and my bachelor's degrees and figured, all right, great. 9/11 happened and that was it, man. I got deployed a few times and there was something bigger was on my mind and in my heart. So I was gone. I left the department, 2005 and went back on active duty as a air reserve technician. I was actually an active duty guardsman. So I was an AGR, took that position. I was riding that to E8 and then I got commissioned instead of putting on that other stripe. So, but
Oh,
that's how that
nice.
happened.
Okay, okay. So now let's turn a little bit into real estate. So I know you said South Jersey, the South Jersey market,
Yes.
and Pittsburgh, PA. Um, South Jersey, I get it. That's where you live. So why Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? And one reason I'm asking is because I've been hearing a lot of things. I do have family who lives out in Pittsburgh. Uh, so I'm just trying to get your perspective on why Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So, great question. It was kind of an opportunity that presented itself. We have a team out there. I have friends out there. It's a hot market. I did the market analysis. It made sense. I was also at the time, I was an intelligence officer for the 111th Attack Wing in Horsham, Pennsylvania, and we had started a cyber defense unit, and the air the general of air for the state of Pennsylvania, basically the tag, um, was trying to put together a cyber defense program with Carnegie Mellon. So while that was happening, I realized that they were going to have a big DoD component in that area. And as it turned out, they did start to generate a lot of interest from Silicon Valley, and they started moving into that Pittsburgh market. So I'm watching housing prices go up. I'm watching income go up. I'm watching crime rates drop. I'm watching expansion from the city into the suburbs. And I went, yeah, I got to get me some of this. And I'm glad I did, because just in the last 3 years, we've seen over a 40% increase in appreciation in the housing market in that area. We're averaging somewhere around 12 to 15% in appreciation in that area.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I'd heard about the Silicon Valley
Mhm.
industries that were moving into that area. And yeah, like I said, I've even asked some of my family members who live out there. And yeah, they were telling me about the things that's happening out there. That's good stuff. And honestly, it's really great for that area because for so long it was like downtrodden, because once the US Steel and all that, I mean, all those big players back then, once they moved out,
Mhm.
it was kind of hard hit for a while. So
Yeah, it's like certain areas of Appalachia that, it reminded me of that, where they dealt with coal and all of a sudden the coal mines started shutting down.
mhm,
Area of investing in places where they have one major employer. And Pittsburgh was one of those until it wasn't.
yeah.
And started to gentrify. And I went, oh yeah, here we go. Let's go. So it went from just being students, because they have three major universities out there. And it went from that to boom, okay, let's go and let's become something that is just going to lead us into the next century. So here we go.
Good stuff. So what asset is there an asset class that you prefer more?
Yes. Yeah. By far, without question, it is commercial multifamily. Uh, I've done the single family, and that's great. You have to amass a large portfolio in a short period of time. Otherwise, you're opening yourself up to vacancy issues. And you can offset that by buying a multifamily property. And if you have one apartment that's vacant, that's fine. You might be at 10% vacancy. Um, but if you have one single family property that's vacant, you only own one, you're at 100% vacancy. That's a problem. You're not making any money whatsoever. Now you're going into your pocket to turn the property and all that stuff. So yeah, commercial is definitely the way to go for me. And we're starting to move towards the larger deals. We did five, couple of sixes, we got an 8, we got a 14. So we're getting ready to make that next step right now. I've actually got a meeting next week on syndication.
Okay. So these smaller multifamilies, are they out there in that Pittsburgh market or a combination of South Jersey
Yeah.
and that area?
Yeah. Combination, but I have one 6 unit out in McKeesport. And we're actually looking at leasing that up. We've increased the rents, and we're going to flip that because it's been 4 years and the value is just too great to keep it. And we're going to take that. One of the highest concentration of multifamily properties is South Jersey. Um, so we're going to be looking at picking some more up over here, and maybe outside of the Philadelphia market. I'm not a big fan of the city right now. It's not very landlord friendly. So it's very tenant friendly. Is your
Yeah.
with?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm quite familiar with that, with me living here in Philadelphia. And that's basically where I'm at as well. Some of the counties surrounding that I'm looking to purchase some of my assets. So in the specific areas, are there certain class of area that you like? B, C, D? What do you deal with?
Yeah, I love the blue collar areas with mixed demographics, with good crime rates, decent schools. Jersey's, other than the taxes, Jersey is a great place to purchase simply because of the quality of education that kids can get in a C class area. You know, I don't deal with Camden City. I have a little bit in Trenton. They're usually single family homes that I directly Section 8 out. But Ewing from, that northern part just outside of Trenton all the way down to Camden County, not Camden City. It's they're nice areas, man. They're better than what I grew up in, even in Northeast Philly, going to a parochial school. You can get a better education over here in those C class areas.
Okay. And how are you finding these deals?
Yeah, I make a lot of phone calls. I network a lot. I am constantly on, constantly online and looking at market analysis the Crexy LoopNet. I can say that on Crexy LoopNet. I check those out. I look for people that are selling that have been on the market for an extended period of time that are obviously not familiar with commercial and how it works. And I'll get on the calls with them. Hey, do you want to know how this stuff really works? Let's talk about the pricing. Wholesalers bring them to me, agents bring them to me, brokers bring them to me. But it's all about who you know.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, let's talk about your most recent transaction. Okay. How was it acquired? Syndication, joint venture, money out your own pocket, you and your wife going in together. How was that acquired?
Yeah, so I had. I'm going to give out a shout out to Roland Jefferson, who is a wholesaler in the area. Who I said, "Hey, Roland, find me commercial multifamily deals, and I'll buy them, but you're going to have to negotiate the price." He did. He did a great job. He found these two units, these two properties. I'll talk about the one in Beverly because that's the one that's currently under renovation. It's a 6 unit. It is an old Victorian, like early 1900s. Two on each floor, three up, three down, and it was not well maintained. So when we walked into the place, he was like, "I found one. The guy wants 645." I was like, "Yeah, no." Because the landlord was pulling all the usual stuff. Well, you could get this and you could get that, and I'm like, yeah, but you're only getting this. So if you're breaking it out for 800, and it was bad, man. It's taken us a year already to stabilize this property. Yeah, so we have two quality tenants in there. It took us a long time to get the other three out. And one, when he saw that we were getting the other three out, just left his furniture, left his clothes. He just walked out the door. He's like, "I'm not coming back to this place. I'm out." And I was just like, "Okay, see ya." That was the first floor apartment, and we just got that re-rented. That took us about 6 months. Cedric, I love to put together quality apartments for people who want to live in them for long periods of time. So we took that apartment from $800. We dressed it up nicely. We have a nice tile bathroom with white shaker cabinets in the kitchen. It's only a 1-in-1, right? So,
Okay.
and the whole building is a one. They're all 1-in-1s. And I took it from $800 and $1,450 in rent, and it rented like that. We have mini splits in the apartments instead of a centralized HVAC, they had boiler systems in there. I'm going to take all the boilers out and we're going to put in pay laundry instead of everybody having to go down the street to the laundromat. Like I said, we're in C area, but it's a good C area with good schools. So I have, the two tenants that are in there now are great. All the other ones that are coming in, they're going to be great. We just got another guy that came in. He's already awesome. It's only been 3 months that he's been in the apartment. He pays 5 days ahead of schedule. He's just like, "Hey, let me know when you get those washers and dryers in, man. I'm looking forward to not having to take my laundry out." But valuation on the apartment with the increase in in rents. I mean, man, we have basically increased the rents by like 70+%. The value of the property went from the 525 that we paid for it. It's over 800 and something $1,000 right now. So we'll refinance out of it. Oh, by the way, use the line of credit for the down payment. Interestingly, when we refinance it, we're paying that off, rinse, cycle, repeat. We're not selfish, and we'll hold that thing for 30 years and depreciate it the entire way.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I know you just said you started a property management company. So are you managing this asset?
Yes, we are. So we're managing smaller multifamily and single family homes. We just onboarded our first client. We're at, including my properties, we're at 18 doors right now. We're about to break the 20 door mark, which is awesome. I'm very happy to slow roll this thing because the better service I give, the better quality client that we're going to get. I want to be a 5-star property management company with not only the owners, but also the tenants. If you go online and you look for property management companies, how many 1-stars do you see? And they're all from tenants, right? They're all from tenants. I've got tenants right now that are looking to move out of my apartments, and they're like, yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate the fact that you're coming in here because I'm communicative. I'll talk to them. Here's the cell phone number. Call me. I give them a voice over IP number, and I'm the one who answers the phone. Now, at some point, there will be an assistant who's going to do that for me. But if there is a problem, it's going to be me that's going to handle it. I don't want to get big. I want to cap out at about 200 to 300 doors.
Okay.
Just so we can provide quality service. And that's from bad experiences.
Got it. Yeah. This way, you can you're vertically integrating your processes. And so that way you can still keep your finger on the pulse and provide that top tier service to your residents and provide them that great experience. That's awesome. So how often are you at your properties physically there?
It's, believe it or not, it's not that often. I don't have to be, because I think that the term property management is antiquated. And I think the processes that most property managers use are outdated. I don't manage the property, man. I let the tenant do that. I manage the tenant. I manage the owner, and I manage the tenant. And so I'll go out quarterly to each property and make sure that the filters are being changed in the HVAC system if they have it. One of the reasons that, depending on the area, right? If it's a Class A area, Class B area, and I have a rental in there, they're getting an HVAC system. They're getting, 4 filters that'll be put next to the HVAC system, so that when I walk in, I can go, why are there still 4 filters next to the HVAC system? Right? You need to change this thing every 3 months, right? And that's only happened once so far. And then since then it's been fixed. And I've got people in Trenton that are on Section 8, and they're taking care of my property better than some of the people in my Class A neighborhoods, because they're not used to moving into a place and having a manager, a tenant manager, who's going to walk in there, and I'll text them and I'll call them and I'll send them emails. How's everything going? What do you need? Is there anything we can do for you right now? Great. And the other thing is, they know that there's the military background. So here's your checklist. This is what you need to do. And I promise you that these will be the things that I will do. We good? Great. One young lady who said, I didn't see that. I said, okay, look, do you see this? She said, yes. I said, okay, I'm going to send this to you in a text message and an email. When there is an issue and it is below $150, it is incumbent upon you to fix that item. Like, I broke my doorknob. If I find out you broke your doorknob and you didn't fix it, I'm going to send somebody out, and then I'm going to charge you for it. Right. So we have those open lines of communication.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Service to Syndication Podcast. If you are a military service man or woman, government employee, or any other service-related professional, this is for you. I once was where you are. As a service member, I lived paycheck to paycheck as a government employee. I knew there was more out there for me. I tried all the get rich quick schemes. None of them worked. Then a friend of mine introduced me to real estate investing. I am a commercial multifamily syndicator who helps those who have served in the military and those who provide services to our men and women in uniform and other service-oriented professionals achieve their time, lifestyle, and financial freedom by investing passively into multifamily real estate. If you know that this life has more in store for you, I invite you to tune into the Service to Syndication Podcast to learn the tools, tricks, and concepts to help you achieve the time, lifestyle, and financial freedom that comes with investing in real estate. So go over to cobbscreekcapital.us. That is COBBSCREEKCAPITAL.US and schedule a call so that we can get to know one another and see how we can work together to help you achieve your goals.
Okay. And I'm glad you really spoke on the whole Section 8, what they call housing choice voucher, whatever they call it now. Because a lot of times, oftentimes, they get a very bad rap. And there's a whole lot of great people that are on Section 8. Sometimes, you're going to have one or two that's not. But, my motto for Cobbs Creek Capital is we provide our residents a clean, comfortable, safe environment to raise their family. As long as you, as a landlord, provide that, most people are going to do right. For the most part, they're going to do right. And so, again, I applaud you for, bringing that up because they get beat up so bad all the time.
Yeah, listen, I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't have a problem with housing vouchers. No issues whatsoever, as long as they're taking care of the property.
100%. Yeah.
Call me and say, hey, we've got bed bugs. Great. Did you call the pest company that's on your lease? Oh, well, did you read the lease? You signed it. So your choices are call that pet company. They will notify me that you've called them. They will come out and they will fix the problem, but it is on you to pay for that problem.
Absolutely.
If you don't, I will do it, but if I do it, it's going to be more expensive.
Yep. So, okay, you mentioned this one property over in Beverly. You mentioned that you did the mini splits. I think you said you did the floors,
tile floor bathroom, LVP, luxury vinyl plank throughout the house. We did the nice cabinets. I use granite in my properties. And people look
all your properties.
Oh yeah, I don't care if it's a Section 8 or a Class A. Now, if it's a Class A, you're gonna rent that thing out for $3,000. There's gonna be some quartz in there, probably, right? But if you're renting the property in Section 8 and you're paying me $1,400 a month, you're getting granite countertops, and that's just for durability. Now, here's the other thing: when I say granite, I will put a level 1 granite or remnants of level 2 in those properties because I don't care if there are seams; you can't see them anyway, and it's less expensive. But one hot pot on a laminated countertop, and you're replacing a countertop when the person moves out. Now, I don't want my people to move out, and I don't want them complaining about the quality of the product. So I'll put granite in there and we'll figure it out later.
Okay. So how did you find your contractors?
Oh man, I don't want to give away secrets. I'm just kidding. Now, look, it is all about talking, networking, going to the South Jersey REIA, whether you're going to Phil Tudor's group, South Jersey Real Estate Investors Network, or you're going to the local big one, which is South Jersey Real Estate Investors Association. That's kind of the big one. It's all about who you talk to and how many times, right? So if I find a handyman, I'm going to find them a job. I want to find them something. I want to find it quick. I want to get a real good analysis of what they're going to do and whether or not I want to put them into my database. So just picked up Sergey. He's going to be running out to Bond Street to fix that doorknob because she didn't fix the doorknob. And then we're going to charge her for the doorknob. Anyway, so, but that's kind of the thing, right? And then I'm always online. So I'm checking the internet. I use apps that I'll go through and I'll be like, hey, I got a project here. And then I'll interview the person a couple of times, and then I'll go over and see some of their work, or I'll ask them for some, hey, send me some photos, and we'll go from there. If they come across as a decent person, I'll give them a shot. If they screw it up, and Cedrick, I will tell you this, man, and you know this already, you got to have your systems in place so that when they walk in the front door, like, hey, this is how, like when we're doing a rehab, this is how I pay people. I pay by the job. I don't do time and materials. I do a draw schedule. When you finish this list of stuff, I will pay you this amount of money. If you go over that, you have to send me an email with a specific breakdown of what you did and why it's going up in price. If I miscalculated the materials, great. Be more than happy to take care of that. I'll pay Lowe's. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not paying you for that. But the labor stuff, like that's just the way it's going to be. I got a guy who's like, okay, great. And we'll split it up and we'll do $7,000 a draw. I'm like, cool. No worries, man. Hey, we did the drywall, the paint's up. Cool. Here's $7,000. I bought the materials. I took the rest of that draw. I paid off my materials.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the way Philadelphia is, and probably you who are listening, it's probably the same way in your market. There's always construction going on. There's always work being done from street to street. I will ride around, I not intentionally riding around. I might just be running an errand somewhere and I'll see a work truck outside of somebody's house and I'll see the door open. So I know that they're in there doing construction. I have no problem pulling over, walking up to the door if there's no one outside, which usually there's somebody traversing in and out the house. And I'll say, hey, you work for this company. Like, yeah, I work for this company, or I own this company. We do X, Y, and Z. So I'm like, well, okay, well, what are you doing here at this property? They'll tell me what they're working on. I'll be like, all right, can I see your work? And I introduce, I let them know, like, hey, I'm a real estate investor, always looking for great contractors. Boom. And that's one of the best ways to do it. And again, also like you said, but definitely the RIAs, going to the RIAs, talking with other investors, and oftentimes, investors have no problem sharing their contractors, or letting you know about some other contractors, if they're kind of, if they're kind of keen on keeping theirs in the pocket. But because there's always enough work to go around, so people don't mind sharing. So that's just a bit of
Plenty of
advice.
crumbs on the cookie, man.
Absolutely. 100%. Totally agree. So with this particular property, have you guys stayed on budget?
Actually, I canceled. We had a rehab loan, and we're doing all right. So I canceled the loan.
Wow. I guess you are doing pretty good.
Yeah, we between the two properties that we're currently renovating, we brought in enough rent so rapidly that I was like, hey, I had $70,000, $76,000 left in this budget. We're done.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said, I was like, we're done. I don't need it. Keep it. How much do I owe you for the admin costs?
Sweet. So have you guys run across any surprises with this property?
Oh yeah, man. You know the way this works. God forbid you tear down a wall or you take down a little bit of drywall, you have just opened up who knows what. When you're talking about a 1900s house, you're looking at knob and tube, iron pipes, all that kind of stuff. This house, the basement and the guts were clean. But we did tear down we took some hanging lath and plaster ceilings. And, there's a way to get around it where you just kind of like put some drywall over it and you screw it into the joist. I don't do that. So I was like, look, this is sagging. Eventually it'll pull the screws out or the nails or whatever it is you're hanging this thing with, and you get some lumping and it'll just look ugly. Like, rip that down. And we did, and we found a nest of little squirrels, but we chased them out, but they burrowed their way in. Oh, they burrowed their way in through the joists in the ceiling. So now you got to sister some stuff up, and you've got, issues with that. So it's just it's the nature of the beast, man. So what did we do? We went out, we had to get the roofer back out there, and we're like, oh man, we need this done. So we got the roof done prematurely. We did the flashing, put that up, closed up all the holes, put up some new particle board. Then we had to go back in and sister a couple of joists in and throw the drywall back up. So it took like an extra almost 3 weeks to get all that stuff done, which was just outside of where we wanted to be.
Yeah. Yeah. It always happens. For those of you who are listening who may have never done any type of rehab to a property, you're highly considering it. Again, that's why you always add in at least about 20% contingency on your rehab budget, just for things like this, so that you don't necessarily blow your budget out the water. So make sure you add in contingency.
That'll save you a lot of grief.
Yes. All right, so now let's focus on your team a little bit. So let's talk about your team, not necessarily on the Beverly property, but let's just talk about in general. Who's all on your team?
Yeah, so right now I've got Ron, who's my executive assistant. We have just downsized a bit on our acquisitions team. So I had 2 acquisition specialists, 1 acquisitions manager. They are now gone because we have so many organic leads in that. And honestly, I don't need them. I'm not doing 30 deals a month because we're not doing single family homes. We're looking for 1 kill.
Yeah.
1 shot, 1 kill. So I have Ron, who's my assistant. We have Lay, who's in marketing. We have Nicole, who's in finance. We have 3 teams of contractors across the board. I have the broker who's sourcing deals. I have me who's sourcing deals, and that's it now, for right now anyway. Obviously, sure know-how is it's a whole other thing. Now we also have property managers in Pittsburgh who deal with a lot of stuff out there. So the team out in Pittsburgh, we have a sourcing person, we have the property management company. I have my attorney out there. I have my contractors out there. But I leave that all up to Nulf management out there. They're doing a great job. Jersey, I have my property management company, the broker. We have Kelly, who is our leasing agent. So she's leasing up properties. I have Nicole, who's also working on the finances for the property management company because we're still small. We're now interviewing somebody for that. I also have somebody who does, integrations and IT stuff. But they're virtual.
Yeah.
Makes things easy.
Yeah, I agree. So now let's talk about that. The property in Beverly. What was the purchase price? And well, you already said that you used the home equity line of credit to get, for the down payment. So what was the purchase price? What was the rehab?
Yep.
And I think you said it's already over 800K.
Yeah. So asking price was $640. I put in an offer of $525. Or the property evaluated was when the appraiser came out, they said 560. I was 5th out of the bids. I was 5th, but I was the only one who was under the appraised value. They took my bid. So I bought the property. Our estimate was about $100,000 in rehab. I used a $100,000, not home equity line of credit, just a business secured line of credit based on our assets. So it was basically based on our portfolio.
Okay.
We took a portion of that money. We had a bunch of eviction problems going on. I was using an outside property management company to turn the property, which is one of the reasons that it took me so long to get this thing stabilized because they were moving at a snail's pace. When we released them and I took over, I had the first deal done in under 30 days. The second one was done in under 60 days. We got the last 2. I have a single family flip that's already underway. We have 21 days left on that before I put it on the market. That contractor's coming over and he's going to finish those 2 simultaneously. They will all be on the market before January. So leaving the property management company who was turning the project, it took over 3 months for them to turn the project. And when I took over, they were nowhere near done. Brought in one of my guys, had him do it. He had it done in 30 days. So it really depends on who you have working for you. I will tell you that if you're using an outside property management company, do not let them make you think it's magic. It's not. It's exactly the same thing that you would be doing if you were flipping a property yourself. And if you find that a property management company stops talking to you, run away, don't walk, run away. It's like, it is the blob. It will ingest everything that you have and take all of your money along with it.
Oh man, that's a good one. The blob. I haven't heard that one, but
It's true, man. It ingests everything. It's just, yeah.
okay. So sounds like you have 3 projects right now. Sounds like going on all at one time. Are you using uh, a local financing company, local bank? You don't have to give the name or anything like that. Or did you use a broker to find the lending institutions?
Combination. So I have a credit union that lends. I have a local bank that lends. I have a broker who can find money if I'm having a hard time. I have several hard money lenders. If I can't get a bridge loan from a capital, because let's face it, I'm under $1 million. So there are not a lot of people that will give me not a lot of capital companies that will give me a loan. So I have to go through a broker and try to find somebody, or I go through my hard money lenders and I compare the pricing and, hey, what's this going to cost me? So I do use, right now I have 5 rotating hard money lenders who do bridge loans on commercial. And out of those 5, I usually gravitate towards 3. And it depends on the size of the project. So it kind of shifts depending on the size of the project. I can just call right out to a credit union if it's a small residential multifamily. That's not a problem. I have somebody who helps me out there. Otherwise, and honestly, man, it's really simple. It's really simple to get these things funded. And if you talk to somebody about private money and lending that to you to fund the gap or however you handle it. So we take the hard money bridge loan, and then we have to come up with, say, 20 to 30% down on the project. And then the hard money lender will give us the 100% on the rehab. We'll take a second lien. Well, we don't actually file the lien. We do a promissory note with a vetted private money lender. So they will partner with us on the deal until such a time as they get their money, until they get their money back. And the interest rate varies depending on the amount of time and the complexity of the work.
Got it. So if you don't mind, we just use hard money lender, bridge lender.
Yeah.
If you could, for our audience, just decipher what the differences are.
Absolutely. So when I say hard money, I'm talking about like a group of individuals who form a corporation that pool all their money together, and then they will lend money to you at a very high rate for them. You have other hard money lenders who will open up an investor's portal based on whatever deals they have coming in. So there are a couple that I use that are like that, where you can be an investor in their portal and lend money to guys like me who are doing the renovations through their portal, and then they will lend the money to me through that. So that's the basis of a hard money lender. Just think, not a bank, but they lend the same way. Think of legal loan shark, and you've got a hard money lender. Okay. I know I've just probably angered a lot of people who are listening to your show right now, but that's okay. We all know what it is. You're paying several points above what you would normally pay to like a credit union or a regular bank. Federal credit union, everybody knows what they are. Good luck trying to get a loan on anything other than a turnkey property. And oh, by the way, if you're an LLC owned by an LLC owned by a trust, they're not going to touch you. Maybe the credit union will, but a regular bank will not. So that's the problem there. Private money is Cedrick and I get together. Cedrick's doing a deal. He comes to me and he says, yo, bud, I need $100,000 in cash so I can close up this deal. And you're out there and you're buying a $300,000 deal with $100,000 in rehab. I go, great, Cedric, here you go. My terms are 10%, simple interest. And how long is the project going to take? Oh, it's going to take 3 months. Great. I'll take a guarantee of 3 months to get the So if you finish in a month, I still get my 3 months interest. If you finish in 6 months, I get 6 months of simple interest. So you just, and depending on whatever that number might be. So if I'm at 12%, you're going to pay 1% per month. The great thing about private money lenders and even some hard money lenders is that everything is negotiable. So we can talk about, okay, great. I'm offering 10%. Oh, I usually take 12. Yeah. Okay. I don't pay 12. Can you do 11? Or it's, hey, listen, this is all going to be payable at the end, or I'm going to make monthly payments on this so I don't lose a bunch of money when I refinance or sell this property at the end. So private money lenders are a lot more flexible, and if you can buy an entire property using private money, that's the way to go. Get 100% funding on a deal using one person or 3 people. That's awesome. But again, you have to be careful on both sides of that equation, because you have to know the person or have interviewed them, and they have to know you or have interviewed you and have had several conversations so that you both feel comfortable with each other.
Yep.
Bridge loans are just like it sounds. You are taking a loan here to cover until you can get a loan here. So it's the bridge loan is covering everything in the middle from here to here. I did visualize, right? So you're going from Philadelphia, that's loan number 1, and then you're driving across the Tacony Palmyra Bridge to South Jersey, where loan number 2 starts. So the bridge is covering all of that money until you actually get over to the Jersey side.
Good. Thanks for explaining that to our listeners. All right, so let's talk about the military community real quick. Do you still keep in touch with some of your comrades that you were in the service with?
I do, yeah. And I was actually just on a meetup this morning. I do a meetup every Saturday at 9 a.m. And we have a bunch of people. They're all military. I'm friends with David Perret, who does the War Room Mastermind. So I'm a part of his group. And then there are still several people that I talk to from the military. The funny part about all this is the guys that you go through heck with are the ones that you keep in touch with the most. The ones that are kind of like, they come into your life, they go out of your life. You know the way it is when you're at a regular duty station. Everybody does a PCS, permanent change of station, over and over and over again. So like, you'll know them, you'll kind of keep in touch, you'll keep their name in the back of your mind so that if you ever go someplace else, you all know each other. So it's like, oh yeah, I was stationed with Mike. Oh yeah, no, that kind of thing. But I don't really keep it. There are several guys that I keep in touch with that we've just had this long-term relationship with, but not everybody, but a very select few.
Okay, good. So when speaking with those comrades who are not in real estate, do your conversations ever veer off towards real estate?
Oh yeah, all the time. I talk about real estate early and often. In fact, I've got a couple in my mentorship program right now that are, doing quite well. And it was because they remember me having conversations with them early on in my real estate career. And now here I am several years later, and they're like, because I walked away from the military. I left 05 on the table. I left collecting my pension immediately on the table. I just walked away. I don't have TRICARE for life. Like, I'm paying TRICARE retired reserve. I'm like, and I'm happy. I walked into my commander's office on September 5th and said, yeah, I went on terminal leave yesterday. I changed my retirement date, and now I'm here now.
Okay.
I'm leaving now. Goodbye.
Wow. Okay. But you did retire.
I did retire. Yep.
Yeah.
Keep in touch with
Okay.
a large number of guys that I served with through Facebook, through Messenger. We were planning on catching up with each other. Several of them got sent down to Hurlburt Field in Florida. So I'll take a run down there shortly. But yeah.
Okay. So, how do you give back to the military community?
Well, right now, my goal is to, without putting numbers out there, my goal is to earn enough money in 2024 so that I can donate half of my income towards military mental health issues. So there was a guy who, I'm not naming names, there was a guy who I used to catch up with, and he wound up on the streets in Philly, and he used to hang out by Del Frisco's. So now I would frequent that restaurant. I'd go out there and I would save half my meal. I did it a couple of weeks ago, a couple of Saturdays ago. I went out there and he's dead, man. And it comes down to drug abuse, and the drug abuse was based on mental health issues. So he, I have a good friend in Philly. His name is Joe Brooks. He was a former president of the USO. He's running a great organization down in Philly, right on the other side of City Hall from, he's on the north side of City Hall, and he runs a program out there for its veterans outreach. So I'm working towards being able to take a large portion of what I make and send it there. Not the VA.
Yeah.
Not, any of these other organizations that are spending 65% of their money on administrative fees. I'm talking about, I'm going to take this money and I'm going to go down there and say, what do you need to buy now? And boom, here you go.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So, I normally ask this question concerning your backstory. However, earlier you gave us the backstory regarding how you finally got into the military and things like that. And, your mom, your dad, went their separate ways, unfortunately. But so tell our listeners the story of how you became Tariq El Musa's coach.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. And again, I'll say it again. Your network is your net worth, right? So network, you never know what's going to happen. I was a member of this mentorship program. I went to these meetups and we would get together and do these 3-day, 5-day, 7-day boot camps. And I met a lot of people. And as they progressed in their lives, I followed them. They were teaching me and I was learning from them. And I got a phone call one day asking me if I would move from my current brokerage to this other nationwide brokerage. I'm not going to say the name of the nationwide brokerage because they're constantly recruiting and it's not a bad business model. It just doesn't fit me because I don't buy and sell for other people. I buy and sell for myself and myself alone. And they wouldn't let me open a property management company under their banner. So I was like, okay, peace, I'm out. But we had a conversation about that and we started talking about my background. And he said, hey, I want you to talk to somebody. And here it's HGTV's Tariq El Musa. He goes, we're starting something and I'd like you to be a part of it. And I went, okay, cool. And the next thing I know, here I am. I'm sitting there teaching. I had 20 students at one point how to buy rental properties using Tariq's find it, fund it, fix it, flip it mentality and method. And matter of fact, I'm doing a boot camp for him today where we're doing reevaluation of portfolios and assets. So, I know it says that I did work, but I went back. I still do some piecemeal stuff for them right now. But yeah, that's how that happened. I got a phone call from a guy and, just because we were networked and he thought I'd be a good fit.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I totally believe in that. Your network is your net worth, and like I consider myself a connector of people.
Mm-hmm.
Going through this podcast, I've met numerous people, high level real estate entrepreneurs, and I've recently connected two people who had both been on my podcast, and both of them are like super high level individuals, and I look for nothing in return, but that's how it goes.
That's it, man. You do that. You never know. And I'll say this, I don't know what your religious background is, what your belief systems, but I'll just put it this way. if you put positive energy out, it always gets returned to you tenfold. If you put negative energy out, the same thing happens. And oh, by the way, they both grow exponentially. So be positive. Even if you have to do something that is not a very good thing, if you have to fire somebody, nobody says you have to be a jerk. Be nice. I mean, I can't tell you, you run into somebody and they treat you like a jerk and you go, I understand it's not me. I understand that something happened to you. Can I ask you, is there something else going on that maybe I can help you with? Right? Are you experiencing some kind of problem that maybe I can help you with? Because and it's funny how many times somebody will run back to you and say something. It's when you make those connections, eventually they'll always turn around and they'll come back to you and be like, hey, who'd be a great who'd be good for this opportunity? Cedrick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. So true. Well, bud, it's been great having you. We're kind of coming to the end. I have a few last questions for you.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is one belief you had as a beginning investor that has turned out to be false, but may be holding somebody back from taking the leap into investing?
I love this one. You have to spend money to make money. I despise that term. It is not spending money. It is making an investment to achieve an expected return on your investment. Do not think that if you get into this, that you have to drop a bunch of cash in order to get it done. Get out there, take some action, and find out how things are going to. If you just provide value, and that can be something as simple as time to someone who is in another position. There's nothing saying that you can't get involved in a syndication deal right now by providing some value to maybe an asset manager and being the runaround guy. Hey, I can go check on this property every day. You might not get any cash from that today, but you're going to get a lot of experience. And that experience, again, putting that positive energy out will return to you tenfold. It's not about the money, man. You don't have to spend money to make money. You have to invest to get an ROI. Whether it's time or capital, doesn't matter.
Love it. Love it. Knowing what you know now, what piece of advice would you give yourself at the beginning of your real estate journey to make yourself have faster, easier, and smoother success?
Don't use this guy. Right. I will, it's unfortunate. You make friendships in this. And there are a lot of times where, and I'm a very empathetic person, where you will keep somebody on longer than you should. So don't do that, right? Understand that there is a business aspect of this, and you can say that these guys are your family. They're not. They are working with you because you are paying them. They will hang out with you because you are paying them. The minute that they do something wrong, or even better, man, I love this one. Hey, man, do you have any cash? I gotta pay my guys on Friday. Don't do it. Don't do it. That is a telltale sign that this guy is not good with funding, and you should probably find somebody else. Don't use that guy.
So true. So true. Oh, man. All right. So, do you recommend mentors? And if so, why?
Oh, I wouldn't be where I was without the coaches that I had. So absolutely. And I know it's self-serving because I do run a mentorship program. There are two things I will say. Number one, you will not pay as much as I did for my first mentorship program. I paid $88,000 for my mentorship program. If you are paying that much, it better be, somebody big, right? And that you'd better be like walking alongside of them for a period of time. I will tell you that I got every dime back that I paid for that mentorship program. If you walk into a mentorship program and say, wow, I don't know, $10,000, that seems like an awful lot of money. You don't, first off, you're not my guy. I'm not coaching, right? Second, if you have to ask that question, you need to change your mindset and be like, is that all? That's what my first mentor told me. what if I tell you that I found a property and it's worth $1 million? You should not be saying to me, wow, John, that's a lot of money. You should be saying, is that all? And you know this term, FIGGEREDOWT. Figure it out, right? Figure it out. Find a way to make it happen.
Yep.
The amount of money, but so that was my first guy. That's the guy who taught me. I try to empower the guys that work with me. I have mentors now, and I won't stop having mentors until I decide not to do anything else anymore, which will probably be the day they put me in the dirt.
Sweet. Is there any person, whether real estate related or not, that has led to your success?
Oh man, that's an easy one. I tell you right now, it's my wife. Right. Yeah, that's too simple. Without people directly behind you who believe in you. And that's honestly the thing that I said before I bought that mentorship package. I was sitting in my basement on a rowing machine. I looked over at my wife. It was 4:00 in the morning. She was downstairs thinking I was crazy. Why are you down here? It's because I couldn't sleep. Because I was about to drop 50 grand to jump into the mentorship program before the other $36,000 of stuff that I had to buy too. So yeah, it's definitely her, because I looked at her in the eyes and I said, do you believe in me? And she said, yeah. I said, then I'm going to do this. And here we are 5 years later going, yeah. Where do you want to go now? You know, it takes a lot to say, hey, you feel like going to Aruba on Monday? You know,
She'll be like, sure, I'll leave somebody to run the salon. It's
yeah.
good. We're
You'd
good.
be surprised. She doesn't. That's why I had to ask, right? Otherwise I'd have been like, hey, we're going to Aruba on Monday. No, it's honey. Can we go to Aruba? Oh, I don't know. We're going to run the shop. Can you ask Linda? Can I ask Linda? Can anybody ask Linda if Linda will run the shop for 5 days?
Nice. Well, bud, it has been a blast having you as our guest today. And as we close out, please tell our listeners where they can learn more about you, get in touch with you, and learn more about all the fabulous things you have going on right now.
Absolutely. So first things first, I do have a podcast. It is the Aim High Podcast. AIMHIGH, the Aim High Podcast, on all platforms. And second is, if you want to check me out on social media or anything like that, go to budevans.com. All of my social media links are on there. And if you want to book a 15-minute call just to have a conversation, I love to network, as you can already tell. It is not a sales call. It is a 15-minute call. Book yourself on my calendar. If you want to talk about mentorship, great. We can do that on that call, but I'm not going to try to sell you something on an introduction call.
All right. Awesome. Bud, again, I want to thank you for your time today and all the wisdom you have provided to my listeners. It's greatly appreciated. And I want to thank you, our fans, for tuning in to the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast, where we want to provide you value to you and your investing business. Please tune in to our next episode, where we will interview another fantastic investing professional. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Service to Syndication Podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate your support, and we are grateful about being a part of your journey to becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will get a lot out of what you just heard. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be in all areas of life. And if this was really valuable, share it on your social media stories and timelines. Thank you for watching and listening. Now go be great.